system?
Yep, I feel better. It didn't bother me to begin with. I don't know. It's Josh's fault. He got me going.
Yep. Damn it, Josh.
That's what I did.
Welcome, Earthlings, to the latest episode of the Wreak Havoc Film Buffs podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sellers, along with my dancing clown co-host, Mr.
Sammie Castle.
We are joined here today by one of our horror pals. I'll let him introduce himself, Mr.
I'm Josh Mabe. Nice to be here.
Clown power.
Yeah, today we're talking about the 2017 horror hit It. Not the 1990 made-for-TV version, but the newer one, which I'm a big fan of. So we'll get to that in just a minute. We got some really cool things to talk about as we're kicking off our October horror movie marathon.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh God. Okay, so what's new? Tell us about Silent Breath. We've talked about it on the show for a couple of months, but
Josh, this is
now
your baby.
you can really talk about it.
Well, Silent Breath, we just wrapped up on the shoot, so we're waiting now. It's in the editing process. But basically the movie follows a kid that's heard voices for his whole life, and his mother keeps throwing medicines at him. His dad likes to yell at him and call him an idiot.
Idiot.
Yeah, somebody
I did not
here.
license this biography, okay? You better got to get my signature first.
I still been hollering at him on Facebook. Idiot.
Oh, yeah. So that's kind of a running joke now. But it pretty much all comes to a head one night when his demon manifests and they have a conversation.
Had enough.
A few other things.
Are you the mean dad?
I am.
I could see that.
He's a very mean dad.
Well, no, I mean, actually, when he sent me the script, I was very intrigued because I'm over the top, so I've played evil, but I've not played just mean.
Yeah.
Dan says I'm too likable to be mean, but
You're just a mentally abusive father.
I think I come across pretty decent mean.
Mm-hmm. I think you've got mentally abusive. Absolutely.
What are you trying to say? Ask my kids. Only one's been able to be on the podcast.
Those are the deleted scenes from Sammie the Comic Book Man.
Yeah.
You don't know he's a real bastard.
So it was a fun set. It's I don't know how many sets have you worked on now.
I worked on 2, what I say, real sets. This one and Dark Trepidation, but I've done a few other little small sets that consist of like 2 actors and a cameraman.
You end up you end up with when you're working with a crew, you end up with inside jokes. You end up with running gags. Which we had quite a few.
Idiot's one of them.
Idiot's one of them. You can't see me when you cut the lights.
That was priceless. That was so priceless.
From our black sound man.
Yeah, Bert has a good sense of humor.
Touching that.
But he did it.
He did it. It was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
And I about lost it.
And he looks like a young Lamont from Sanford and Son. I walked in the door and I went, "Oh my God, he looks like Lamont." Yep.
Oh yeah, this is the second time I've worked with Bert. Bert does really well with sound. He can hear things through those monitoring headsets that I would have never noticed.
Yeah, I've now found a sound guy, which is what we've been needing. So yeah, it was a good time. Everybody was really, even through the issues that we occasionally had, everybody seemed to be having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Met new people, worked with new people. It's always fun to.
And our host that gave us a location were like the greatest people on the face of the planet, John and Cindy. Thank them so much.
He was a little involved though.
So,
He was sitting up on the top. You have to picture this. There's a foyer when you walk in a house with steps, and there's 3 sides to the steps. It's like the steps take this whole big section right in the middle of the house. But then it goes up to like a loft where the bedrooms are, but you can see from there over down into the living room. A balcony, yeah. Mm-hmm. He was sitting up on a balcony, and every once in a while you'd hear him go, "Well, what if he did this?" It's like, who the hell is talking?
You can't tell him to shut up.
Yeah,
it's his house.
It's his house. So you're just like, Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about that. But he was also very encouraging. He, every once in a while you hear him go, "Oh, that was really convincing." I think he even did it one time with the camera still rolling. He scared me.
Yeah. He had a ball watching that.
But they were awesome. Food every day. I mean,
they went so above and beyond. I felt so bad about imposing on that much, but they just kept throwing stuff at us.
Buying pizzas. I'll go buy pizza. I'll be back in a little bit.
That's awesome.
But they were awesome hosts to let us take over their house like that for 3 days. Three long days.
And big pond outside. So he was like, anytime y'all want to use this, just come on back. It was kind of weird, the signing of the scripts and your email and addresses and all that kind of stuff. That was a little weird. But, I mean, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
If he shows up outside my door, I'm going to come get you.
It's all my fault.
Yeah.
So when do we get to see Silent Breath?
Well, right now, I don't know how long the editing process is because our editor works at Honda Jet, and he has a pretty busy schedule. But he's working on the film right now. We are hoping to have it ready to have a completed movie by November.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome.
It also depends. We do have a composer, so once it gets done editing, you got to send it off to the composer to get all the original score and everything. Which he actually just sent me a sound clip for one of the characters' themes.
Nice.
You like it?
I do.
Awesome.
It's very.
That's a good feeling.
It's for Doyle's theme.
That's
It's
crucial.
It's one of the when you listen to it. The rhythm it's got almost feels like when you're listening to it that your heart is trying to get in rhythm with the beat. It's weird. It just like engulfs you. I love it.
And I have never walked on set and read a character because I've read I've read a bunch of scripts. I've never walked on set and had a character walk through the door and go, I know who he's playing. I mean, it was perfect. Chris was great.
When he sent me his audition tape, I mean, when he got to some of the lines in it, I mean, cold chills. He was great.
When he's standing behind us and Doyle goes and gets the chair and just kind of sits down and goes, "Go ahead." I went, ooh.
Yeah, because you're sitting there.
That was kind of I'm getting ready
You got
to
a front row seat right there. So.
I'm getting ready to take some damage. So.
So, Josh, tell us a little bit about all the projects you have coming up, including your film festival.
Oh, right now, let's see. As far as projects coming up, we've got a film that I wrote called Curtains. That is hopefully going to take place in December.
Shoot that right here.
Yeah, it depends on how, because I'll be working on Dark Trepidation 2, which films in November, so it depends on how long that lasts, and then we'll be going on to Curtains, which like I said, I wrote that one. It's about a guy that has a unusual fear of closed shower curtains, and not in the Psycho style. He's not afraid to like take a shower with the curtains closed. It's him walking in the bathroom, and his wife has the shower curtain pulled closed, and it just terrifies him not knowing. It's the fear of the unknown.
I have a Psycho shower curtain,
and it's based on my personal fear. I can't stand a closed shower curtain. I hate them.
Really?
I have been known to take a broom handle and reach in and open the shower curtain before. I can't stand it. It bothers me. Spiders, closed shower curtains, and heights. That's pretty much my 3 fears. And after that, got a few other scripts that are untitled that I'm working on for next year. But,
cool.
And then our film festival, October 6th, the Horror Movie Freaks Film Festival. It's our first festival. That's going to take place in Clemens at the Village Inn Event Center. That'll be from 5 until 10, October 6th.
Very cool.
Really looking forward to that. We've put a lot of planning and everything else into that and had a lot of hiccups along the way, but it's finally going to happen.
Oh, yeah, I know all about that.
So.
Yeah.
Yes.
As we've just had a very successful 4th year.
Yeah.
Where no one was killed.
Our first one was
It sucked.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this one
tough.
doesn't. We will see how it goes.
But
It sucked with a screening of Evil Dead 2 in Wadesboro where it was filmed. So, it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I came in on I guess last year, it's third year, last year. So that's when I came in to wreak havoc.
I feel like
really
we're finally
enjoyed
starting to kind of hit our stride.
Yeah.
Carolina Theater's really gotten behind us now. Where they weren't, it wasn't necessarily that they weren't behind us, but I think they were testing us to see
If you're gonna stick around.
Yeah. Whether we're going to put the work in
Sure.
that it requires.
Yeah.
Lord Lover, our marketing director, Annie Titus, is a rock star because she will work the streets,
Yep.
and in a good way.
Well, in a bad way, but we're not going to talk about
We're not talking
that. I got nothing to do with the film.
Rick don't need to know that.
Yeah, we're recording this before the film festival, but this will air after. So I'm assuming it went really well. Congratulations.
It went awesome.
I thought it was awesome.
I had a ball.
We've had good buzz. I mean, we've
Oh, yeah.
already got almost 300 interests on the Facebook page, which is, I mean, that's pretty good. Normally, you figure interest cut in half is about how many people you have.
Yeah.
If that happens, then we're in good shape.
Yeah, very cool. One thing we will announce at the film festival, but haven't had a chance to talk about on this show or any other platform yet, is a new short film that sort of ties into the film that we're talking about today.
That it does.
We are making a new short film, which is an adaptation of a Stephen King short called Uncle Otto's Truck. And we will be making that next year, and it'll be released next year, hopefully for the 5th Wreak Havoc Horror Film Festival. We'll have the world premiere then, so that's our plan.
Awesome.
This is an infamous dollar, baby.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I've paid him the amount required and have gotten the signature back, and yeah, we're very excited about Uncle Otto's Truck, and I think we can say at this point it stars Mike Burke, a local actor who's been a guest on this show, and yeah, go read the book and come watch our film next year at the film festival.
Yeah, I like that story.
I do
And
too.
and since I read the story on the way to Vegas, and as I've been driving around all week, I keep noticing trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking for old trucks, and I saw one today that was a little bit older. It's a state body, had a flatbed on the back of it, and I was like, "Ooh, let me follow that guy."
I don't think I've read this story, so I'm gonna have to go
It's a
look
good
it
one.
up.
It's in
It's in
Skeleton
Skeleton
Key. Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
One shot. I don't know if you've read the script yet or not, but
Not most of it.
One shot takes place in Derry, but that's it. The rest of it's in Castle Rock.
Yeah.
Derry is the home of It. Is where It takes place, and this is the film we're talking about. So
Along with a couple other.
that's our yes, that's our segue. In case you guys like that. All right, we're going to play the movie here. We're streaming it, so we may have a little bit of oh no, not a.
HBO.
Now we got to watch the HBO commercial.
True Blood.
Did we not get enough of True Blood like 10 years ago? Do we gotta?
You know,
Are we redoing it, or are they just advertising?
I
just
watched that
advertising.
show religiously
I love that show.
until the last season,
All right.
I did too.
and when I don't know if it's
Just
late enough to actually
Oh yeah.
spoil
We
anything.
spoil anything. Anyway.
But when Alcide got shot randomly from the bushes, it made me so mad I quit watching the show.
The show got dumber.
I didn't
and dumber
particularly
as it
like
went.
his character
Yeah.
all that much, but he deserved better than that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't care about it anymore.
The show started off one thing, and by the end of it, it really turned into much more of something different, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I gave up the last season or two.
I like season 1 and season 3 the best.
When
I
I
think.
watched it all the way through, now I do agree that the last season was
The first
getting a
few
little
were
pretty
good,
heavy.
though. It was different. It was, yeah.
I really liked her brother because he was just so epically clueless, and I loved Lafayette.
Lafayette was my favorite character.
And the girl that ended up marrying Terry that worked at the bar. I liked her too.
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name.
I love this movie so much.
I love this opening. It's so
Can
creepy.
you see around the coffee cup?
Sorry. Yeah, I'll move it.
Dan's being rude.
We-
In my house.
I saw this movie twice in theaters. The first time we had gone out, me and my wife and my brother-in-law Colton, plays Hank, had gone out drinking beforehand. And my wife and Colton got drunk not really badly drunk, but they both fell asleep halfway through it.
Oh, really?
Now, we were in a really nice theater with the best surround sound I've ever heard in a theater. This was the best possible viewing experience to see this film. It was loud. It was like in your face. The movie's scary as hell. I look back, my wife's out.
Oh, jeez.
My brother-in-law, when the movie was over, I had to shake him to wake him up. People were like, yeah. So we had to go back to see it.
Yeah, I ended up seeing the film 3 times in theaters. I had just got my movie pass, and I was
There you
going like
go.
crazy.
I saw it twice. Not positive. I think I saw it twice. But it will be a regular watch on my list every year, or probably a couple times. Now, once I got to start watching it tonight, I want to finish it after. We'll probably watch it, and then I may turn around and watch it again tonight. Although I got a couple shorts for the film festival, I still got to watch.
I'll definitely watch this movie in full very soon again, though.
And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm kind of a fan of clowns.
Kind of, yeah.
As we're sitting here surrounded by clown paintings and not even pretty clowns, scary clowns.
I like this scene right here.
This is pretty great.
I like how the way he does his eyes, where one's looking at the camera and one's looking at Georgie, and then during the conversation when he starts like drooling almost, letting his evil show a little bit.
He is drooling.
A lot of this drool is coming from the prosthetic teeth and the teeth in his mouth. He can't really pull his lips together very well. And Bill Skarsgård's real eyes can do that.
And they didn't I don't think they realized it until they hired him. Yeah. That he could do that, and they were like, "Oh my god!"
I read something online that they were talking about trying to do that in After Effects and everything, and he was like, "Well, I can do it.
I can do it. That's pretty cool."
And you've got to. This movie, you're probably in between me and Dan age-wise.
34.
Okay. No, see,
We're right there.
Y'all right there together, and I'm so far. I'm light years ahead of y'all. I saw the TV show when it came on TV, the original. So that original show has a very dear place in my heart. Tim Curry has a very dear place in my heart.
Tim Curry is amazing.
From here to Clue.
Clue is one of my favorite movies of all time.
To Rocky Horror.
See our episode on Clue.
Yes, thank you. We haven't done Rocky Horror one yet, have we?
No, we need to.
No, but we will.
We really should.
I've never seen that movie.
I might actually do that.
I've never seen that movie.
Let's do it for October.
Yep. Okay. But it's funny when they started announced this and started casting it. That uproar was so big, and everybody was so up in arms about this.
About his casting?
Yeah, all of it. About their casting, about his casting, because everybody wanted Tim Curry. But that's a decidedly different Pennywise than this. It's another gorgeous shot.
Yeah.
Who directed this?
Andy
ended up not being Cary Fukunaga.
Muschietti.
That's right.
How you pronounce it. We'll talk about him a little bit.
Okay.
I've got some stuff to say.
Although Cary Fukunaga's imprint is on this movie.
He's credited as one of the screenwriters.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell.
This movie was in development for about 7 years before it got released in theaters. We'll talk about that a little bit too. About the iterations that went through. I love this title opening. It's pretty.
Oh, I love it. I love the graphic. That.
Which is something you couldn't have done back then. That floating 3D thing would not have. That's a new technology.
Now I will say, and I think we've talked about this in the past on the show. I am not a fan of the 1990 It. I do like Tim Curry, but that's about it. That's the only thing I really enjoy about it. I've watched it quite a few times. And I watched it when it came on, and I didn't like it as a kid. I thought it just bored me as a kid, but
I enjoy it.
it doesn't bore me now. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I love this.
I enjoy it. I enjoy the original.
I like this adaptation much better, but I do.
Oh,
I like the
yeah.
original, but it was more for Tim Curry
That
as
guy.
Pennywise.
That guy, I was watching it today, and when I saw it in the theater, I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. Where do I know him from? He's the cop from Blues Brothers.
He's X in the X-Files.
Oh, I said I don't watch X-Files. But the cop from the Blues Brothers, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
The boys, y'all been in a whole lot of trouble.
Yep. A lot of good. This is a other than Finn Wolfhard. This is and some of the dads. The guy from Wings. What the hell's his name? That plays her dad. Shit.
You sound like me trying to remember names.
Just keep IMDb up.
It's that guy.
Stephen Bogart? Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's him. In Wings.
You know, the barrels aren't that bad. They're just the most splashing around and shitty
I
water.
don't think that's right. Yeah, that's Mr. Marsh.
I knew he looked familiar, but I never could place what I had seen him in, and I hadn't looked it up.
Anyway, I think he's the guy in Wings. But you see a lot of faces that look kind of familiar, and then Finn Wolfhard is the only kind of known actor in this whole group.
Yeah.
Everybody else you've never heard of.
And you don't need any actors.
You didn't need anybody. And I know at one time there was some pretty big names attached to this.
Yeah.
But you didn't need it.
I like this kid. I thought he looked just like perfect out of the 80s.
Oh, God. That hair.
His little mullet.
We don't want to talk about mullets.
Do you have a bad memory about a mullet?
There's pictures floating around here of me in a prime mullet. I love that car though. Why do bullies have to drive muscle cars? Why can't nice people drive muscle cars? That's 79
Well,
Firebird.
it's not that the nice
Except for
people
the band.
can. It's that that's just what all the bullies are going to drive.
Because Stand By Me, they've got a convertible muscle car. And,
Maybe it's a Stephen King thing.
I'm sure it probably is. Christine from the Buick 8. All muscle cars.
Well, speaking of Stephen King, I think this is a pretty damn good adaptation of the book, and and it's also speaking of Wings. You mentioned Wings. I did the audio book earlier this winter, and it was read by Steven Weber. Very good audio book, and I remember sitting in theaters watching this, going, all right, I don't think they're going to have time to do the adult stuff. That's they're running out of time. And I just kind of assumed it was going to be a chapter 2, but I was very excited to see chapter 2 at the end. And I think it's worth noting we're recording this September 6th. Is today the 6th?
Yes.
We're exactly 1 year from the premiere of chapter 2. Be September 6, 2019, and we're almost a year from the release of this one. So this was, I think, September 8th.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. We're right there in the middle talking about.
I'm looking forward to
this movie.
chapter 2.
Oh, I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm very excited about some of the casting they got for it.
I like some of the casting. I'm a little worried about it because the adult side of the novel is a little tougher. Maybe not tougher. Well, yeah, tougher to explain. I don't know if that's. I don't know what I'm trying to.
Well, I mean, it's just it we're just gonna have to wait and see what they do with the adaptation. I mean, I think considering how good this is, I think the next one is going to be pretty good too.
Yeah, and I have. I mean, after seeing this, I have a lot better confidence in it. But
well, so casting for chapter 2. There's only a couple of known actors. The other ones are more or less unknown. You have James McAvoy playing
I'm
Bill,
looking forward to seeing him play
which
Bill.
I think he's very good casting.
I like him.
Jessica Chastain playing Bev, which is pretty much one of the best actresses you could possibly get. Bill Hader playing
Yes.
Richie, who's one of the best actors, not just comedic actors, but actors working today. Then you have a couple of other actors that wrote down their names. James Ransom playing Eddie, Jay Ryan playing Ben, Isaiah Mustafa playing Mike, and Andy Bean playing Stanley. And Bill Skarsgård
Yeah, of course.
is back playing Pennywise.
I'm looking forward to Bill Hader also because I've talked to him a lot and saw a lot of his stuff before he was ever famous at all.
Oh,
When
right.
I ran a Resident Evil website for several years, and one of the members worked at Nickelodeon doing like dubbing and stuff for the cartoons, and his roommate was Bill Hader
Oh, nice.
before he ever moved to New York, did Saturday Night Live and everything. And they used to make short films together. So I've got like 6 short films at home that they recorded in their apartment
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
of him before anything.
That's nice.
He's a very fun guy.
That picture that they just showed, the first one,
Yeah.
is an actual Civil War photo of the bodies laying on the
Yeah, I've
ground.
seen that. It's a
Yeah.
very famous photo.
Yeah.
This scared the shit out of me in movie theaters when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I knew it was coming too. It still scared me. I mean,
Just the head.
this kid's head in the tree.
I like the creepy lady in the background.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice her standing back there?
Subtle, all this little subtle stuff,
I
which
picked
is very Stephen King-ish.
I picked that up on the second viewing in the theater, the way she was just standing back
Yeah.
there staring at him.
Yeah. All that stuff is very. That's always been one of the things that people who have done a Stephen King adaptation and has missed the mark. It's because they didn't get the subtle stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't get the small little pieces that he goes in so much detail in his book.
Well, speaking of that, I think it's only fitting to talk a little bit about Castle Rock on Hulu. Have you guys watched that yet?
I have not.
It just aired episode 8, I think, or episode 8 or 9 out of
They
10.
didn't just dump it. I thought so. Hulu doesn't do
Which is
like
very
Netflix.
aggravating. They
Yeah.
do, but just Castle Rock, they decided to do it every week, which is driving me nuts. I'd have had this thing watched months ago, but it's such a good show. But it's full of Easter eggs, from the Stephen King universe. But he has famously tweeted out quite a bit. Enjoy the show for what it is. It's a really good show. It's a really good story, which he has nothing to do with the actual story.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in all the Easter eggs. They're there, but just enjoy the show.
Which people have a tendency to do.
Yes, they do.
They'll get caught up in Easter eggs.
Well,
and
and-
won't enjoy it.
One thing I think is kind of neat is for this film, Castle Rock stars Bill Skarsgård and a main character, not Pennywise. And it also features the kid who plays Mike. Oh, we get the scene with the headless kid
Yep.
in the library.
Is there any chance that his Bill Skarsgård's character is going to turn into Pennywise?
I don't think so. They don't.
Okay.
They don't seem to be going in that direction. This last episode just did a major mindfuck with his character, and I have no idea what the hell is going on with this. Every time you think you got the show figured out, they keep throwing twists on you and messing with you.
I've heard it's really good. I just
Really
haven't-
good
I just
show.
haven't
I
seen
don't
it.
have Hulu.
So it's
Even though I think you've sent me the stuff.
it's worth getting Hulu just to watch this show.
Oh, wow.
I mean, not to mention all the other crap. Hulu
I waited
has, but
till 11/22/63 came out on
DVD.
DVD
Yeah.
or whatever, on digital download. Which was a good show too.
But it also has other Stephen King people like Sissy SpaceX in it.
Yeah.
She's very good in Castle Rock. That's a little reference people who are old enough to get it won't get.
It's 88 though. I mean, that was that was
That
probably
was-
the year he
Went up in
let it-
flames
yeah,
and-
set himself on fire. Just set a little car and a balloon in the back. Then he gets the shit beat out of him.
There's a lot of things that
Yeah, has he ever said whether he was bullied as a kid?
Stephen King.
Yeah, Because I mean, this is a running theme too with this, the brothers in Stand By, or the Kiefer Sutherland and those guys in Stand By Me. Sometimes they come back. It's always a group of these bullies.
Well, as a storytelling device, bullies are very. Bullies are great because it not only it's really clear who your villain is and who's your hero, but it makes your hero more likable and understandable and relatable. I don't know. I could see it. I could see that.
I think it's funny. Every time my mother watches a movie, first thing she says, "I hate bullies." Every time it shows up, I hate bullies.
And everybody hates bullies, you know. I mean, even bullies will claim to hate bullies, you know. But they, you know, it's very effective for stories and films. All right, we gotta skip ahead a little bit for a second.
It is a long movie. We'll get and we hadn't even really.
We hadn't gotten to the good scenes
Well, we
yet.
hadn't even scratched the surface. I mean, they hadn't even got all together yet with Bev and did we skip over the scene with Bev and her dad though?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Where he smells her.
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite creepy. I think that was more creepy than anything Pennywise does.
So I think this is a really well-made adaptation of the book because it picks what's important and shows it and tells it, but it doesn't. But it also kind of trims the fat. And in the book, there's like whole chapters about Patrick Hofstadter, this character, who's really a tertiary character. Which is really interesting for the book. I mean, he's a good character, but
it's
not necessary.
And that's
to tell
almost
the
a
story.
Stephen King trope too, between him and the trash can man and the stand, and he's got this. He's got this fire fixation too. Well, guys setting fires.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, Carrie is the ultimate, but
Firestarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Christopher Walken in the Dead Zone can, and it's he has something very simple that he can turn into something fire scary, but he can make it even scarier. Hey, we got a bad guy picked off right off bat.
There we go.
And it's a much more satisfying kill, being that it is one of these bullies. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah. These kids are so. They have such great chemistry together.
You have to suck the wound. No, you don't. You have to suck the wound. And Ben gonna be a badass. Yeah, I'm good.
I think that's another thing I liked so much about this movie is it reminded me of all the movies I liked when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like The Goonies, Monster Squad, all of that. I love that.
I just love that that in the background that they keep trying to show you that it's the summer of 1989 instead of just telling you over and over, and you see things like Batman and Lethal Weapon on the theater in the background, which I remember seeing Batman in 1989 thinking it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I loved that. That was the matter of fact the cassette soundtrack for Batman was one of the first cassettes I ever had.
Oh, really?
Prince album? Yeah, hell yeah.
Didn't they have Kiss from a Rose?
It
on
did.
it too?
No, that was
That was
Batman Forever.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Get your Batman
I'm
soundtrack straight.
sorry. Well, one of the things I noticed was Bill's room had a Gremlins poster over the top of his bed. He had a Beetlejuice poster up, and I think an Event Horizon, but I'm not positive what the.
They're all going to be
one.
Warner Brothers or New Line movies too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think there's a Nightmare on Elm Street somewhere in there.
Probably. Hey,
All right, here Bev comes home with with some tampons.
Because
creepy ass
she's
daddy.
becoming a woman.
This is kind of what you based your performance in Silent Breath off of. This.
Yeah. No, I wasn't
That creepy.
I wasn't creepy. I was just mean.
Idiot.
Crazy little bastard. Poor Landon.
That's awesome.
And then Doyle started taking up for him, but that's not. Beat my head on a bat. That just it's so creepy. Smelling her. Why? She's your daughter.
They definitely did a good job making the scenes with him and her. Very
Well, and that's that plays a big part
uneasy.
of the book. So they told a lot about their relationship, where the book took a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take a lot in the movie to tell.
No, you
how creepy
knew
he
right
is.
off. He's creep.
There's the house.
Oh, this is the leper, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
But this is the house with the vortex too.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some weird sexual angle in Stephen King stories. And in the book, the leper is constantly trying to suck Eddie's dick.
Yeah.
In the book, but not in the movie. But in the book, he's just like pushing himself on him, which is even grosser and scarier.
Something they couldn't do here, though.
No,
Yeah.
it's just too much. It's like audiences are okay with kids being in danger, but kids being in danger of that, it's just a level of creepy we don't want to get. We don't want to see.
Yeah, because they got
balloons.
this film got a lot of flack just for the scene with them going swimming.
Did it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where you going, Ed?
Matter of fact, the executive producer, Tony Olson, for Silent Breath, he hates this movie with a passion.
Really?
He hates this movie.
Did he say why?
He said it wasn't as good as the books. He said,
Well, it's not as good as the
He
book.
said the whole scene with them swimming just creeped him out, and he said he thought that was way too overused with them in their underwear.
Really?
So he does not like the movie.
I will say I have found that a lot of people that we know come either love this film or really hate it.
Jeff didn't like it.
Jeff didn't like it. He didn't think it was scary at all. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I was in the theater, like, jumping over and over.
Well, I like it. One of the things that the movie did is, like, I really get annoyed at horror movies nowadays that rely solely on jump scares.
Yeah.
It gets so old after, like, the 12th jump scare. But
Well, you stop jumping.
right.
don't-
But
it
in
doesn't
this
work.
one, it's more subtle horror. Like when the painting comes alive, the painting falls off the wall, the creature in the painting's gone, and then you see it standing in the dark background. It's not like just bam right out in your face. You kind of see it and know it's coming. It's that suspense, kind of like with the original Halloween when you see Michael Myers like sit up in the background. I just like that better than that real quick jump scare.
Well, one thing this film does really effectively is they make you care a lot about these kids. And when you care about the characters and you see them getting into these terrible situations, it matters. You don't have to rely on the jump scares when, you know what I mean? You can let it build.
A lot of horror movies don't do that good with making you care about the characters.
Now, one thing I was thinking about when I was watching it, and I'll actually go a little more in depth into this when I go back and watch it all the way through again. But I was wondering about the order of the kids seeing Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have something to do with anything? Because it's Mike who sees him first. Well, Georgie, but of the main kids, it's Mike that sees him first.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Ben. No, Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, at the when he's delivering the meat.
yeah.
No, I mean,
That's Mike.
yeah,
Ben sees him in the library.
and the library because
Then
the
it's
headless guy's turning into him.
the sick kid Eddie, right?
Well, and to my recollection, it's different in the book too. The order is different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I read the book.
It's been years.
I don't
since I
know that
read
it
the book.
matters.
And
It
then
maybe it
Bev,
does, but I don't know.
I was trying to watch. I was watching it with a critical eye.
I think it'll matter more when you see chapter 2.
I think so too.
I think it'll because we know certain characters don't make it to the end of chapter 2 as they do in the.
And
I think it just went by one of my favorite scenes when Pennywise is waving
the
the
arm.
arm.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I did think the rock fight was awesome.
One thing I really noticed about this, I love the soundtrack. Holy hell, the cult. New Kids on the Block. There's a lot of good stuff in this. A lot of very 80s
I love
stuff.
it when they go to close the door and there's the New Kids on the Block poster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut the door back.
Now, one thing I really like about this film was that they chose to make it because the story happens in 27 years increments,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Pennywise emerges every 27 years.
Yeah.
The book takes place in the 50s and in the 80s, mid 80s, late 50s, mid to late 50s, mid 80s.
Yeah. 87? What was that? 86, 87?
The book came out 86,
Okay.
so I'm assuming it
it's
takes place
86,
about the
87.
time.
Yeah.
In the movie, the present day is like 90, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
and the original was already
Well,
was
no,
back
I
in
don't
the late
know.
50s.
If it's, it may be it may even be farther along than that, because they're going to be in their pretty close to 30s. So maybe it's 2000 or better when the adults.
In the 1990 version?
Yeah. No. In this one.
No.
okay,
I'm
okay.
just saying in the 1990 version, it takes place in the 50s and
Yeah.
and the 90s.
Okay. Gotcha.
In this one, I love that they decided to set the chapter 2 in more or less present day, which will be 2016.
Yeah.
And the chapter in the first movie in 1989, which is basically around the time the book and the original movie came out.
It's been about the right time for Pennywise to show
So
up.
did they?
Yeah.
So did they do that because of the popularity of Stranger Things, or did they do that because the adult version was set in the 80s, and the original in the 90s version or whatever? It's a lot of numbers to be thrown around. You get confused.
I think because I don't know why they decided to do that, but personally I think because there's so much nostalgia with the original book and the Tim Curry version, they decided we need to set the original back in that time frame. And plus, audiences will relate to it in 1980s time frame much more than they will in 1950s.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, and again,
And we've
I
already
think it's a
seen it,
Stranger Things kind of.
Yeah.
And there is a big 80s nostalgia thing
theme,
going
yeah.
on right now, and
It's the greatest thing.
they're
I like the 90s personally, but
the 90s are more of our era of growing up.
however, my wife loves the 80s. She didn't see much of it, but she loves the 80s.
I told the story in the documentary. My love of books came from my mother, and she started feeding me stuff at an early age.
Playboys.
Yeah.
Really sick.
Yeah, that was odd.
God, I hope she doesn't listen to this. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode, because she does listen to certain stuff.
Yeah.
But when I came home, my local high school was 8 through 12. We didn't have a high school, junior high like a lot of people do. So after my 8th grade year, I came home for my summer break, and laying on my bed was a copy of Pet Sematary. And it said this, with a note from my mom, it said, "I know you've got your reading list from school. This is your reading list from me." I've read Pet Sematary over the next 2 weeks or so. The following year, when I was getting ready to turn 16, It was it. I got home from school and it was laying on my bed, and I literally stayed up all night for like I probably stayed up for the better part of 4 days to read it.
Wow.
I didn't want to go to bed. I was
I'm
underneath
like
the
that with
cover
books.
with
Fun
a
read.
flashlight because I was supposed to be in bed.
When I start reading a book, I'll lose a lot of sleep because
God,
it's so hard for me to put a book down. And
Book is so good. It's probably my favorite novel of all time.
I've read several of the Stephen King novels. I'm not going to say he's my greatest. I love his stories. He's not my favorite author, though. Something about his style. I don't get into his books as much as I do other books.
One time he was my favorite author. I don't know that he is anymore.
Right now, as far as for horror and stuff, my favorite author is Brian Keene. I love his books. I've read every single book the man's written, and even his short stories and his short books and his comics.
I've read a couple of his.
I just finished reading The Dead Zone and loved it.
Yeah,
I've never read The Dead Zone.
From Carrie through I don't remember what was after it. From Carrie through not too long after it is kind of his prime spot. Cujo, Christine, Dead Zone, Firestarter,
And a lot of good
the
adaptations.
short Skeleton
in there, too.
Crew
Yeah.
is in that time frame. Yeah, Shawshank come out of that. So it's
Yeah, different seasons.
yeah.
Yeah, I already had several of the Stephen King novels and stuff, but I thought it was funny. Me and my wife were at Goodwill one day. They rolled a buggy out to their little book section. It had about 10 to 12 Stephen King novels that didn't look like the pages had ever been opened, 50 cent a piece.
Really?
All hardback, looked like brand new.
To me, he kind of went off the rails a little bit when he did The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is a good book. But then because it sold so well, I thought he thinks, well, I can just do storytelling instead of horror, and he tried to really get away from it. And I've read a lot of his. I've read Blockade Billy. I have that bottom shelf in there is all first edition Stephen King's.
Really?
Yeah. The Shining. I have first edition Shining. All the way. I mean, I don't have all his books, but if I'll eventually find all of them as first editions. Silver Bullet, Cycle of Werewolf, or whatever.
I love Silver Bullet.
Which kind of ties into.
I haven't read the book for it though, but I love the movie.
Oh, really? The movie's a little hokey, but the book's a little hokey too.
It's just a classic.
Yeah.
Love in the Fog when the wolf comes up with the bat.
Kind of ties into this too, since that's the name of Bill's bike.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of threads running through Stephen King stuff. All sorts of threads.
Talk a little bit about this movie. It had a budget of $35 million, which is pretty
Economical.
Pretty economical for a big budget or for a big film like this. It had the biggest opening weekend of any horror film ever at $123 million.
It was insane.
I think it caught everybody off guard.
Well, no, I mean the marketing, the campaign, like the trailers were amazing. I remember seeing the trailers, and even the trailers did really well. Like it broke the internet the day it came out.
Oh yeah, it was the most watched first day trailer.
But I think it also had good
time.
word of mouth too. People saw it and were like, "Shit, this is really good. Let's go see it again." And hell, that's what happened. That's what we saw it multiple times.
Yeah, there's been very few films I saw multiple times, and I ended up seeing this one 3 times in theaters. So.
And it ultimately did 700 million plus worldwide, so that's pretty damn good.
I was very happy to see a horror film.
2017 was a good year for horror films, box office wise. And there's a lot of horror films that did really well. I think this one kind of led the way.
My daughter's favorite horror movie. She likes this one a lot, but her favorite horror movie of that year was Happy Death Day. My daughter loves Happy Death Day.
I enjoyed that movie.
I thought it was fun.
It's a good little movie.
And
I was surprised.
I think her favorite movie ever, though, is The Babysitter on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Wow. if you guys look somewhere in this room of clowns, is a clown that's dressed like Tim Curry Pennywise.
Yeah,
which
when
is
he first
pretty
walks into the room, it's on the right. It's kind of like the bust.
good. Yeah.
Nice little homage.
Yeah.
They hit all the right notes
Yeah.
on this movie. They hit everything that they should hit.
I like his broke arm. They're just kind of flopping there.
Yeah.
I thought this was creepy the way he comes out of the refrigerator.
I read somewhere, I think it was in trivia today, that Bill Skarsgård worked with a contortionist to try to get some of this stuff done. So half of what you're seeing is him and half of it's CG.
So weird.
But I think he really wanted to try to do that as much as he could himself.
Give him credit for it. I mean, he knew he was following Tim Curry and how popular that Tim Curry
Yeah.
Pennywise is.
I think it's probably pretty intimidating to follow in those footsteps, and you also got to do something different, which I think he does. You can't look at anything he does here and goes, "Oh, he's just doing Tim Curry."
I was very glad it wasn't just a rip off of the old
Well,
one.
and I think that's a lot of the reason they did the changes to Pennywise that they did. The costume is more central to. I mean, it's more close to what the book did. That. So good. Not scary, and that's the not scary door.
Yeah.
Remember the missing kid poster? That wasn't real. So this isn't real.
I got distracted. The different makeup, the teeth, the butt teeth. I wasn't sure whether that was going to work, but it was so different.
Yeah.
And then those glowing eyes, that just kind of capped it off. I don't know how they did that effect. I don't know if that was contacts or just the lighting or a combination of both.
Probably an editing.
Fits it in post.
Yeah.
But the glowing of the eyes is just so.
I love that. I'm not real enough for you. One thing they did making this film was they kept him away from these kids until they shot. And so he never got to really hang out with the rest of the cast or really get to know anybody or play around, only when they were shooting. And so they didn't even know what he looked like until they saw him for the first time on set when they were filming.
That's a good makeup too.
Very good. And this scene here where he's on top of the kid who plays Eddie, and the kid's just crying and screaming and almost wheezing because he's so scared. They did a take and the kids were reacting so scared. He actually stopped and said, "Are you okay? I'm just playing here." And the kid who played Eddie goes, "I really love what you're doing with the character."
Who did makeup? Sarah Craig was the makeup department head.
Heard that name before. I'm trying to think
They,
of movies I've
I
seen
feel like
that
this
name.
this should have been nominated for some Oscars, like
Dawn of the Dead.
special effects.
The remake. Silent Hill.
No, well, I love the makeup in Silent. Which Silent Hill? The first one.
Yes.
Okay, I love the makeup in that
Lock
Silent
and
Hill.
Key. Yes. I love that book. Oh, she worked on Heroes
Skip
too.
ahead a little bit.
Yeah, she's done all sorts of stuff. And then a bunch of Christmas movies. That's weird.
Christmas to horror.
Yeah, take the work where you can get it.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a big push for Warner Brothers for this film to get nominated for a bunch of Oscars. They even pushed it really hard for Best Picture nomination, but it got 0 nominations at the Oscars.
Should have.
Which, one of the reasons people keep saying the Oscars is not as relevant as it needs to be, and they keep having to think of stupid things like popular movie category, which they're not doing anymore. But I think if they did have a popular movie category, it probably would have been nominated for popular movie.
It won some Saturns. I mean, it didn't even win a Golden Globe. Nothing.
I just wanted Uranus.
Ugh. Yuck. Golden Schmoes. What the hell that is. Won a Golden Trailer Award. Now, I did win a bunch of MTV awards, so.
Well, hey, there you go.
MTV Movie Awards. Movie of the Year.
I didn't know it won their movie of the year.
Sure did.
I could see it. I mean, it's
Best Villain.
That's
Movie
your
of the
audience,
Year.
you know.
Best On-Screen Team. Most Frightened Performance.
This website has totally crashed. Well, since we're waiting for that to reboot back up, let's talk about the development this film was in for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, one of the people that really started getting the ball rolling for an It remake, or not a remake, but just a new adaptation, were the Duffer Brothers from Durham.
Okay.
And at that point, Warner Brothers thought they weren't established enough as filmmakers, and so they weren't going to risk a $35 million budget on two people, brothers who weren't tested. So they basically had developed and worked on it for several years and really wanted to make it, weren't able to make it, pushed a lot of that creative effort into Stranger Things.
You think?
And then look how Stranger Things has influenced the movie they were trying to make but weren't able to, including the actor.
Yeah.
I love Stranger Things.
It's great, and you can absolutely see a lot of it in Stranger Things, and just Stephen King in general, a lot of those influences, especially the 80s.
I didn't like the second season. It's good.
I didn't like it as
liked
much
it
as the
both.
first one, but I liked it. I
enjoyed it. But
I'd called out of work the day that the season 2 released because I was sick. I didn't feel good that day.
Yeah.
I ended up laying in bed and watching every episode back to back. The way Netflix does it at the end, it's like 3 seconds, starts the next episode. Watched every episode all the way through in one day. I felt horrible. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, but I did enjoy the show.
So, more recently, after the Duffer Brothers kind of were involved and not really, Kerry, help me pronounce his name,
Fukunaga.
From True Detective, had written and was directing it, and for the longest time was in charge of it, and was eventually fired by the producers, if I'm not mistaken. And he spoke about this recently, just a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. I read somewhere on, maybe it's Twitter or somewhere, but he had given an interview and said that they thought he was not compromising in his vision, which he said was total bullshit. That he was, anything you do in filmmaking is compromise. Whether it's just how you get things made. And he was totally willing to, but their perception of him as a filmmaker was he would not work with them or compromise on anything. So they basically just fired him. Why they went with Andy Muschietti, I'm not sure, but his big claim to fame before this was directing 2013's Mama, also starring Jessica Chastain,
Which was another good movie.
which was not bad. Yeah, I didn't think it was great, but it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was well made. As a horror filmmaker, especially as a director of a film festival, what I love about Mama, 2013, is a feature film remake of a 2008 short film that did well on the film festival circuit.
Yep.
I love that you can go in
I
the
didn't know
course
that.
of 9 years, go from doing really well on the film festival circuits with a short to getting a big budget picture with one of the greatest actresses in Hollywood to then getting it, one of the biggest films ever made, especially horror films ever made,
Yep.
and an immediate sequel the next year. That's pretty damn good.
Lights Out was like that too.
Yeah, I remember.
Lights Out,
I saw
exactly.
Lights Out, the short
yeah.
film it was based on.
Yeah.
But that Mama was the first one that kind of broke that mold. And
Let's get a little foreshadowing here for the character Stanley. He gets attacked, and he's by himself, and this kind of sets some. What's what I want to say is maybe plant some seeds now that 27
foreshadowing.
years later
Yeah.
really start to take its toll on Stanley.
Foreshadowing. And he was, if I remember correctly in the movie, he's the last kid to encounter Pennywise. No, because he saw him in the rabbi's office.
Yeah.
It's Richie's the last one.
I don't think did he see Pennywise in the?
Well,
Man, he saw it.
yeah,
Just-
I think I'm pretty sure every time they've ended with Pennywise the clown.
I didn't remember Pennywise being in that scene.
Maybe not.
I thought it was just the painting.
I think it was the painting.
But I mean
think
that's
it's
Pennywise.
technically-
Because Pennywise is not a clown.
It's it.
Yeah, let's talk about Pennywise for a minute.
Pennywise is in the book and in the original movie, and some point in this too, is not a clown.
No.
Pennywise is a manifestation of their darkest fears. So that's the reason Stanley sees it as this painting on the wall. That's the reason Eddie sees it as the leper.
Yeah.
And the book infamously ends with the giant spider.
Yeah.
And I don't remember whose fear that was or whatever, but clowns are scary.
Well,
My wife's terrified of clowns.
what
So is Jason Return.
one thing I really like that they do in this film is there's a bit of mystery to Pennywise. Is they don't really explain what he actually is, and from my understanding, they shot something to explain it better, but cut it, and I think that was a good idea. But the book explains a little bit better, is that he is a cosmic being, which another word for that is alien.
Yeah.
He's basically an alien that came to Earth or came to Derry hundreds of years ago, and for some reason or other, it likes clowns and it likes to be a clown, and it feels it's like he identifies as a clown and most comfortable in a clown's shoes. So he's Pennywise's dancing clown, but to mess with you, he can be whatever you're most terrified of at the moment. I like the fact that we know little about Pennywise. That makes it scarier to me,
Yeah, I think sometimes when movies try to go too in depth explaining stuff, it kind of
You lose it. I mean, you lose what's special.
I was like, I liked Rob Zombie's version of Halloween, but at the same time, I didn't care for all the backstory of Michael Myers. I like Michael Myers more as it's the shape. He's him.
I prefer Michael Myers that way too, but at the same time, I'm with you as well that if you're going to do something different, do something a little bit different. Show us a different perspective, which is cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this new movie. This new Halloween. I'm excited.
I'm really looking forward. The trailers have made me looking more forward to it.
Yeah.
Because at first I was just thinking.
Is,
At first I just was looking at it as like, this is just Halloween H4O.
They should call it H2O.
Yeah.
2O.
2O.
20 years
But-
later. After. But, in this one, H2O doesn't happen.
I know.
It just goes from the first movie. The second movie doesn't happen.
No.
Or any of them.
No, it supposedly takes place right from when he shot him and he fell out the window. That's when they took him into custody.
Yeah.
And they're not even related.
Yeah, which is a bold move, really. It's really bold to really skirt all that history in between, which is,
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they go with all that because
yeah, I am too.
that was in all the other sequels. I mean, that was part of the thing was Michael Myers drawn to his family.
Yeah.
well, okay. The one thing I did not like about this is I didn't particularly like the dancing clown.
Oh, you didn't like the dance? I thought it was pretty
Pennywise
cool.
the dancing clown.
I shared the hell out of that meme of him.
Oh yeah,
him
yeah.
dancing.
But I don't know. That was a little too hokey for me.
My two favorite memes from this movie is when he's dancing like that, and then it goes to Jim Carrey dancing in his tutu, back and forth, and then the one when he's waving the hand, and then
that
Forrest
hand,
Gump is waving.
The waving arm wasn't too bad. It was a little out there, but it wasn't too bad. But I don't know. The dancing I didn't really like.
Well, he is Pennywise the dancing clown.
Well, true. feed on your fear.
Let's talk a little bit about the casting for Pennywise. Now, I don't know how true this is. I think I remember hearing about this years ago, but in one of the original, or not original, but one of the earlier iterations of this film, like I said, it was in development for about 7 years before they finally got on track to making this film. It was originally, the part was originally offered to Tim Curry again to redo his character, his version of
That
Pennywise.
was really early in the.
Yes, I don't think he's physically capable of doing it, even if he wanted to. It was offered to, you better get your IMDb ready, Ben Mendelsohn. Do you know who that is? He's an actor who's gotten really big out of nowhere. You'll recognize him as soon as you see him. He was in Rogue One. He's been in a lot of things.
Damn, his first word pop up. Men. All I had to put in was Ben
Mendelsohn was offered the role, accepted it, and then couldn't do it. What was it? Oh yeah, they wouldn't pay him enough.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't pay him what he wanted. He was in The Dark Knight Rises.
No, that I
very different
I like
take.
his look.
Oh, I don't either, but it's a very different take from the one we have. And then it was offered and accepted by actor Will Poulter. You should look him up too. You'll
I know who
him.
that is.
You do?
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
I remember that too.
So Will Poulter
I wasn't. Yeah,
was hired.
from the Maze Runner.
I've seen him from other things, but yeah, he's in.
Yeah, he's
Maze
been in
Runner.
A
several
little
things.
young.
But he's along the lines of Bill Skarsgård.
He's the one that was
kinda
in.
creepy looking.
Dang it! What is that movie? I've seen him in several things. But yeah, I remember
He's
when
in
he
We're
was.
the Millers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. We're the Millers.
The Revenant. He's very good in The Revenant.
Something.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been fine at this, but it was scheduling conflict. He couldn't work it out with the other films he was working on. So then they eventually offered it to Hugo Weaving.
I remember that too.
Yeah, okay.
Actually,
I could see that, but I don't know that Hugo could do the over the topness.
Well, I misspoke. They didn't offer it to him. It was down between Hugo Weaving and Bill Skarsgård.
Okay.
And they decided that Hugo was really good at the creepy stuff,
Yeah.
but not good at the playful
Yeah.
clown stuff,
Yeah.
whereas Bill Skarsgård could do them both.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
he's got this creepy smile that he can naturally do, and he can make his eyes do different things. And
He's so young.
he's very young, and he's probably easy to work with as opposed to Hugo Weaving.
How freaking talented is that family?
Oh yeah,
They're all.
we were
They're
talking
all
about
extremely
True Blood
talented.
earlier. Alexander Skarsgård is his
Yep.
brother, and Stellan
They're-
Skarsgård is his
his
dad.
dad.
Yeah, he's been in everything. Like,
Yeah.
if you go on his internet movie data, he's literally like been in every movie.
Yeah,
I love the last line, the fear.
he's crumbling for now.
Another good effect I couldn't do back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in defense of the original movie, they were working with a limited budget.
Sure, it's TV.
That
They
was a
were
big
working
limitation.
with people who everyone knew at the time.
Yeah,
Tim Reed was known. Richard Thomas was known. These are John Ritter was known. These are very well known people at that time. And it was a miniseries, and
Yeah.
miniseries tends to be a
Well,
little more hokey.
it
Than,
was made for TV,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they couldn't do too much over the top.
And TV was different back then. It's not Game of Thronesy where you can go now and make that killer ass movie or TV show that you want to make, where you can just kill everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Blood and it's not Walking Dead. It's not. It's a different time.
Do you remember? Was it a 2-part series, miniseries, or was it 3?
3 nights, 2-hour nights back to back to back, which is the way they tended to do those back then. And there was a bunch of them through this time. The Langoliers, The Stand, Tommy Knockers, Golden Years. Can you tell I'm a Stephen King fan?
Well, here's another thing that I think it doesn't. It's probably not served well by that format, because if you've got 3 2-hour, that's a 6-hour movie.
Yeah.
You don't have to be nearly as economical with your story as you do in a 2-hour film like this.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this will be 2-hour films.
2.5.
2.5-hour films.
Almost 2.5.
But still, like, in order to tell at least the first half of this within 2.5 hours, you still got to trim a lot of the fat, which they didn't necessarily have to in the 1990 version.
Yeah.
In my group, we got in so many arguments about people saying this is a remake of the 1990. Like, not a remake.
No, it's
a new
adaptation. It's just a new version of the book.
And I don't might have to refresh my memory here. After this, they basically kind of go their separate ways to some extent until they come back 27 years later. So this is basically a summer. This is a group of kids getting together for one summer.
Yeah.
Now, Bill and Eddie and Stanley and Richie are all kind of buddies. Ben's kind of new to the group. So they've been together a little bit, and Bev's new to the group. But basically, this is a group over a summer fighting this, which they say, a group of people get together for some kind of horrendous act or something along those lines. They have this unbreakable bond anyway. But again, another Stephen King trope. It's over a summer. It's something that happens over a couple weeks in the summer or during a whole summer. It was basically a couple weeks too.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Ben. Y'all break his heart. I was a chubby kid growing up, so.
I'm still a chubby kid.
Some of us didn't.
And I related to Ben. Now, I made a note early in my notes. The scene where Bill goes in and he's got the little army man and he flushes them down through the sewers and he's telling his dad, he's a little obsessive compulsive with that. You think it has anything to do with his stuttering? They never really explain what causes his stuttering. And he was stuttering before Georgie was killed. So, I don't know. Psychologically, I don't.
To me, it seems like the stuttering is a really good device to bring back when he's an adult and he's over the stuttering.
Yeah.
But when he comes back to Derry, the stutter comes back too. To me, that's a really effective tool to use. So that is it, chapter 1, which we find out at the end of the film that this is chapter 1.
And correct me if I'm wrong here too, isn't the book kind of intertwined instead of being all young and then ending old? It's kind of tells both stories concurrently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like this way.
It's been a long time since I read
Well,
the book.
I'll let you know after I see chapter 2 what I like better. But I think this is going to work out really well. But I think the kids are in chapter 2 as well, somehow, in a small part.
I know they're all
Probably
credited.
Flashbacks or
Probably
something.
flashbacks. Well, it's funny. I was reading a trivia thing a while ago, and they said they asked the kids who they wanted to play their adult versions, and Richie and Finn Wolfhard and the girl both got it right. They wanted Bill Hader and Jessica Chastain to play them.
I saw some of the promotional material with with Beverly, like they're both sitting at a table across from each other. I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed Jessica Chastain might be involved, considering the mama. But we just saw some shots here recently from on the set of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything.
You haven't seen those?
Or anything. Let's see if I can find it. It looked pretty cool.
Another Annabelle movie?
see.
Annabelle 2. Annabelle or 3, I guess now.
It's here.
How good do those Brie Larson shots look?
Pretty damn cool.
And that even the scroll looked good.
Yeah. This looks like he's holding on to balloons or something.
Yeah, it's
Floating.
And it's probably balloons.
So yeah, we're looking at some behind the scenes shots of Bill Skarsgård being held
The
up.
costume is so creepy.
Yeah.
And Lord, the Pennywise cosplayers after this.
No, I know.
Oh yeah.
Holy hell.
I think the best one I saw is somebody's got a video online of like a 3-year-old dressed as Pennywise, and it's like perfect.
That's great. Well,
I saw that, and then wasn't the baby Georgie or something?
Yeah, they had the baby
Yeah.
Georgie at the storm drain.
Somehow my kid has gotten a hold of this or maybe even watched the old one with us, but there's been a couple times we've gone by storm drains and my daughter's been like, is there a clown in there?
I love the promotion
Don't
of the
hear it.
red balloons everywhere.
Yeah, that was
Did y'all
a good
see those
idea.
around Kernersville and everything?
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
that.
I saw pictures of it.
I saw pictures. I
we
never
saw
saw 'em.
we saw them when I was on route and stuff, driving around Winston and everything in Greensboro. Storm drains just have red balloons.
Oh, you know, I'm a fan. Any of these videos, like the guy in New York that was just appearing in the corner of the woods dressed as a clown. Hell yeah.
I figured you liked
Man,
all the clowns.
when all the stuff was, all the rumors were going on around here about clowns in the woods and stuff, people posted on my wall, and I'm like, look, guys, the horror show's coming up. I'm out in the woods trying to freaking, just do my thing, and
Get
y'all
some
keep
publicity.
bothering.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the clown in the
I'm
woods.
just training, man. Come on.
Don't you like clowns?
I'm associated with clowns and comic books and
Yeah. Hashtag clown power.
clown power.
Sammy, let me give you your birthday present while we're still on the show. It's
This looks like a
very
block
good.
of C4.
very good wrapping.
I'm
here.
gonna move.
Block of
Decided
C4.
to leave it in the.
Is it
He comes
ticking?
up with some good stuff.
Is it ticking?
I got for Christmas one year. Was it Christmas? I got a actual cup of stuff. The stuff.
From the movie, the
Yeah,
stuff,
from
the
the
container.
stuff. Yep.
I was at a flea market recently. I saw these and thought of you.
That's funny. Oh, the Joker.
I got a stack of those.
I actually have
Awesome.
a couple of those.
I figured
Oh,
you probably
E.T..
had some of these.
Indiana
Jaws
Jones.
3D. Sure didn't pull these out of my collection. I don't think I had any Back to the Future. Still got gum in them.
That
Yeah.
is awesome.
Wonder how freaking hard that stuff is.
Oh wow, it'd break your teeth. I used to
that's
love
cool.
that gum in with the cards though.
That's cool.
Oh, I love them too. I bought one of the Jaws. I don't know if I have it with me. Yes, I do. So you don't have to worry about opening it up if you want to. I opened this one if you want to play around with these. There's actually 3D cards with a little tiny pair of 3D glasses.
That is so
That's
awesome.
great.
And yes, I did eat the
tops.
chewing gum. And the 35-year-old chewing gum, which I said eat because, yes, it dissolved completely in my mouth within
Turned to powder?
seconds.
Did it
Within
really?
seconds of putting it in my mouth, yes.
That's funny.
Check
Oh,
check
this
this
is corn syrup.
Check this shit out with the 3D glasses.
That's cool. Hey, you get too close, you can't see it.
These are so freaking cool.
Da-da, da-da, da.
Yeah.
I love Jaws.
We're opening Jaws 3D tops
And that's the only way you can
3D
look at
cards,
it.
the blue and red 3D from 1983 with the bazooka bubblegum
Oh,
in
that
it.
one looks kind of good.
Yeah.
The fish one.
So yeah. I had
Oh,
to buy
that the
an
fish
extra
that
one of
he
these.
bit in half.
Some of them are just okay. But
That's a
that
pretty
one,
good one, I think.
That's a pretty good one, too.
You're welcome, listeners, for the visual
Thank
aid on
you.
the audio show.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
I actually have a big pair of red and blue ones in there I can put on them.
Mm.
From the Nightmare on Elm Street box set.
I've got a Friday the 13th 3D.
I remember getting ready to
3D
say
glasses.
that. Really?
I mean, that movie's so bad, but that's so much fun to sit and
I have
watch.
that poster.
Do you?
Yes. I
Ah, very cool.
do. Yes, I do. The original.
Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap up our discussion on it and many other things. So, Josh,
It's
where
been
can
fun.
our listeners find more of you?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook, Josh Mabe. You can also find us on Facebook at Horror Movie Freaks, and then the number 1.
Join up.
Yeah, and then you can find us at www.horror-movies-freaks.com.
Very cool. Thanks for coming on the show, man. We enjoyed
Thank you for
having
having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Dash,
it.
dot dash, dot dash.
Dash.
dot
Lots of
dash.
dashes. So many dashes.
Yeah, somebody just stole that shit before you got to it, didn't
Yep, and it was owned by one of those companies that buy up domains and then resell them, and they wanted like $2,800 for it. And I was like,
Screw
nope.
them.
That
Give me a
hobo
dash.
is a lot better looking than your hobo.
Yeah, it is like a hobo.
That's the guy that played the leper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sammy, where can folks find you?
You can find me in the woods going,
This
hey,
is a clown."
Georgie. Georgie. And right about this time, you can find me in Snow Camp at the original Hollywood Horror Show doing my thing.
Which I'm gonna have to check out this year.
Yes, please come down. I can get you a little backstage tour, too.
Yeah.
I have that kind of power.
That's where the real part is.
Well, I did until today. Now that I've promoted Spooky Woods, I may not anymore.
I worked at a competitor for 2 years. So.
The one on the north side of town? Or?
No, I worked at the one in Pilot Mountain.
Hacker House? Okay. I've never been up there. I've heard about it. I've just never been.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
You can also find me on a movie set somewhere. I've been getting some roles here lately. So.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool too, and I've actually been putting myself out there for some roles.
Yeah.
Submitting, which is weird.
Very cool.
I have a little extra time on my hands now that I've retired from one job and just got one instead of 18.
Yeah.
Awesome. and check out Sammie the Comic Book Man on Facebook. He's still trolling around too.
Absolutely.
Got a couple gigs lined up for it.
Very cool. You can find us on Instagram at Recover Productions. I'm on Twitter at Hank vs. the Undead. You can always email me any questions, concerns, bitches, gripes, comments you might have at recoverproductions@gmail.com. Check out Carolina Haints, which is now running. It's we're going to have a couple episodes in the month of October, including a Halloween special, so that's pretty cool. And check out Countdown to Midnight.
Uh-huh.
We'll be shooting that here soon. We could use all the extras. And be on the lookout for Uncle Otto's truck coming next year. So
Yay!
very excited about that. Yeah. So
I'm
we
excited for
will,
Stephen King.
Exactly. We will see you guys in a few weeks with a new, or maybe next week. I'm not sure. Maybe with a new episode, a new horror episode. So
We're going to try.
yeah.
We're having scheduling problems. Sammy's busy, Dan's busy. So what put us on hiatus for a little while.
What's a good way to sign off an It episode?
Hello, Georgie.
We all float down here.
Yes,
that's
yes,
good.
we do.
You'll float too.
Clown power!
You'll float too.